Hi, I'm Kevin Jewell. Today I'm here at the Slippery Rock University's pool in the Morrow Fieldhouse. I'm going to be teaching you how to do the frontward crawl swim stroke. Front crawl is also commonly known as the freestyle stroke. Actually, not the freestyle stroke. Freestyle refers to doing any stroke you'd like as long as you're on your stomach. But today we're going to focus on the frontward crawl. It's a very common stroke. I'm sure you've probably seen it before, but today I'm going to teach you how to do it properly. There's multiple different things that go into doing a good freestyle or a front crawl, but we're going to start with the most important, which is, of course, the stroke itself. And what you're going to do is when you start out, you're going to kick off the wall. You're going to put your hands straight out in front of you, just like this, in what's called streamlined position. Now, when you get your hands out here, you can do several different things. Some people like to put them just like this. Other people like to lock their hands. Personally, this is more comfortable for me, but whatever is comfortable for you is what you'll do. So you'll kick off the wall in your streamlined position. When you feel yourself starting to slow down, you're going to pick your head up just a little bit, just like this, and then with whichever hand is your dominant hand, or the hand you're more comfortable with, is the hand you're going to take your first stroke. For me, I'm right-handed, more comfortable with the right. So my first stroke is going to be just like this. I'm going to lift my head up a little bit, and I'm going to pull my hand out to the side. I'm going to make a sweeping motion out, back in, under my body, and then out behind me. Once again, you're going to start, you're going to go out, under, and down. Now, in order to get the most out of your stroke, you're going to want to move a large distance of water. You don't want to go like this and then take that as your stroke. You're not going to go anywhere. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you reach way out. When you go out, your body should rotate just a little bit. See how I'm straight, but when I rotate, just a little bit when I take that reach out, because you get a little bit farther when you turn than when you go just straight up. So you're going to tilt your shoulders just a little bit, reach out, under, down, and when you finish, your thumb should come by your thigh, not by your hip, but down here. Now you don't want to reach so much that you're throwing yourself in a curve like this, because then you'll be moving through the water like that, and that's not good. So once you take that first stroke, you're going to start your recovery, and you're going to do the same thing with your other arm. Out, under, and down. The second part of the stroke is the recovery. Once your hands are down here, you want to get them back up here. So you take your first stroke, when you get down here, you're going to pull your arms straight out, keeping your elbow at 90 degrees up behind you. You're going to bring your hand and your arm up, bring your hand out, and throw it back down into the water. It's very important. Keep your elbow high, because if you let your elbow drop, your fingers are just going to drag through the water and slow you down. Full stroke. You kick off the wall in your streamlined position. You bring your arm out, under, down, back up into the recovery as you start with your next arm, and you're just going to follow through each one, same motion every time.
As I push off the wall, I put my hands together in front of me in streamlined position. As I take my first stroke, you notice I start out in front of me and finish all the way down at my hips, going into a high recovery elbow. With each stroke, I do what is called a sculling motion, going out, under my body, and then back down, finishing with the high recovery elbow. And when I breathe, I turn my head to the side instead of lifting it up.
The second part of your stroke is your kick. Your kick is very important. If you use just your arms, you're going to get tired. So you want to make sure your legs are in there too. Now, some people think just kicking with their legs like this is good. Let me tell you, that's not good. You move this much water with just from the knee. It's not as much as if you use your whole leg. So when you kick, you want to make sure the kick is coming from your hip, just like this. Now, in the water, because the water's thicker than air, there's going to be some resistance and your knee's going to want to bend. That's fine. But don't make it bend. Keep it as stiff as possible. If it'll bend a little bit, that's fine. You're going to make sure your toes are pointed, but the majority of your kick is coming straight from the hip, like this. Both legs doing what's called a scissor kick. They're going to be going like this at the same time. And you want to do that the whole time you're swimming. A lot of people forget the kick because they're concentrating so much on their stroke. Don't do that. Make sure you're thinking about them both as you're going through the water, and you want to use them both so that you don't tire out as quick. Now the third and final part of your stroke is the breathing. Since you're lying with your face in the water, you're obviously going to need to breathe once in a while. I like to breathe every third stroke. That way I'm breathing both on my right and my left. If you need to breathe more often, go ahead. If you feel that you can go longer without breathing, that's fine. But try to do it at least every second stroke, so every time you're on your right or your left. But it's preferred that you do it on your third, fifth, seventh, and so on. So that way you'll breathe on the right, and then on the left the next time. So when you breathe, your arm's going to come back into recovery. When your arm comes back, you're going to want to rotate your head. You don't want to lift it straight up to breathe. That'll slow you down. So you want to turn it just to the side. You're going to lift your chin up a little bit because you're going to start to rotate when your elbow goes up. It's going to push your shoulders this way. Also, you're going to be reaching out this way, so you're just kind of turning. Not a whole lot, but just enough. You're going to lift your chin up, and as your arm comes over, you're going to breathe right through where your armpit's going to be. Make sure you shower good the morning before you go swimming, or else breathing's not going to be so fun. You're going to want to breathe, and then shoot your head right back in when your hand goes in. And 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe on the other side. So again, looking at it this way, when your arm comes up to recovery, head turns this way. Not like this, just like this. As your arm comes up, when your hand gets right about where your face is, so you're going to start to take your breath, and then back in. On the other side, it would look something like this. You come up, breathe, back in.
Let's take a look at the breathing. Right here, you can see I take a breath. I turn my head to the side instead of lifting it up. Notice how you can see my face. Let's take a look at the stroke in its entirety. Here you see the high elbow during recovery, and also in my breathing, you see I turn to the side instead of lifting my head up in front of me. Here we can see the stroke's sculling motion, how I reach out, come back under my body, and finish down below. See how my strokes, I reach out in front of me so far that it causes my body to tilt, and then I finish as far down as I can, getting the most out of my stroke. Notice how the kick comes from the hip and not from the knee, and my body rocks slightly back and forth. Thank you for watching this, and I hope it will help you become a better swimmer.